Praise the Lord, saints. This is Elder Adrian Heyman. And you have to excuse my little breathlessness. I've actually climbed upstairs. I'm starting to do that. Try not to do it too many times a day because it does tire you out. I have to build up my stamina. But it looks like my back is holding up well. I just have to make sure I don't overdo it. Because I think yesterday I did. I overdid it and didn't really feel it in my back. I felt it in my neck area. But whatever the case may be, I had to sleep to recharge. So that told me I can't take this back for granted. Gotta be very careful about it. But what I wanted to speak today was this shirt and what this shirt means. On the front is just simply 66th Street. And where I lived at, 66th Street was not a major street at all. I remember it did have a traffic signal on Main Street, and then it curved and so on its way to Broadway. Those of you that know the street, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. When it got up to San Pedro Street, San Pedro Street's the same street that God's Garden of Gethsemane is on. In fact, only about 3 blocks away. And so I just felt, one of the reasons why I felt at home every time I visited the Bots Church. It reminded me of my home, and then people treated me like I was at home anyway. So it was good. It was very, very good. But back to 66th Street. It used to go all the way through until they extended the school's playground and essentially blocked off all of 66th Street, had it turn towards 67th Street, coming west, and coming east, it goes to Avalon. But anyway, that's kind of just the logistical terms of it. But 66th Street School, that's where I went to kindergarten. That's where actually I went to preschool. To give us kids a head start, of course. I remember also it having a tunnel, but I can't remember whether it's on 66th Street or was it on 67th Street. It could have been 67th Street, where you go under the tunnel. You know how they used to build tunnels underneath the street so that pedestrians can conceivably be safe as they walked. Of course, the hiding places were great for gangs. So they'll just be waiting in the tunnel, waiting for you. So we learned pretty early in life not to use the tunnel. But that's neither here nor there. I had some good teachers, some good memories. Yes, I was teased a lot about my stuttering. And because I was kind of goofy too, kind of awkward. I didn't have any rhythm, couldn't really dance. I still can't. But at least right now it's more acceptable, especially being saved. I don't actually need that display of rhythm for me to actually be okay with myself. But I remember a lot of the students, a lot of the kids that I grew up with around the area. I'm not going to name names because what I don't want to do is forget anyone. But there are those who essentially, I didn't realize that they thought pretty well of me. I didn't know. Because I was so involved in the kids that teased me that I just didn't really think anyone really cared. But they did. And this particular shirt that I got was the shirts that were given out as attendees of our 66th Street reunion. Now, we talk about high school. Now, I graduated from high school in 1980. So you can imagine 1974 leaving 66th Street Elementary School. And everyone there split from there. Some went to Bethune, some went to Edison, some went out of the area. And then from there they went to places like Fremont, Jefferson High, Locke High School, various places. And it was nice to see some of them at our reunion. It was very nice, actually, to see those I hadn't seen in years, decades, that I wasn't sure if they were alive or not. But they showed up, they recognized me, they gave me a hug, and it was quite nice. It was quite nice. Now, that doesn't change the things that have taken place, but it allows me to dig a little bit and see everything wasn't all bad. Going to 66th Street Elementary School. It wasn't all bad. There were those that really cared, both male and female. And this typifies that. And so I won't forget them. I'm tempted to say names, but I can't. Because as I said before, if I start saying names for one person, others may expect it. And if I forget their names, because remember, I'm old now. I guess people are saying, well, Adrian, you're not old. Yeah, you're younger than all of us. And that's true. I'm younger than the class I was in. I was the youngest person in the class. But I can feel myself, of course, with having to have back surgery, neck surgery, prostate cancer surgery. You do tend to remember, or your age begins to come back to you. And you realize you can't do everything you used to. And you can't think as fast as you used to. What you can do is remember, though. Remember the people who smiled. The people who got mad at those who teased me. The people who just wanted to talk to a quiet little boy. And I thank God for that. For every experience that I've had. Every experience that has taken place. See, because it was during that time. Maybe a little later that I actually got saved. But I was already reading the Bible because it was an interesting book. My mother went to church, and my grandmother on both sides, they went to church. So it's not that far of a reach that I would eventually take interest in church. But I just remember that all these kids, and these were bright kids. They weren't dummies. They were bright children. Some aspired for one thing, some aspired for another. But see, elementary school is the age in which you don't hit reality about what you can and cannot do. If you want to be president, I want to be president. If you want to be the best actress or actor in the world, you can do that. At least you can think about that. Best scientist, best football, baseball, basketball player, best soccer player. You can go into all that. That's where our thinking was. And one thing I was happy about was that they even introduced stories of black men and women in Black History Month. It was during that time I read about Benjamin Banneker, Crispus Attucks, George Washington Carver, John Drew, and all those that have made various achievements to society. Frederick Douglass, of course, Harriet Tubman, of course. So I was in school. That was a school that did not necessarily try to take away our history. And we were very fortunate. I know there are many schools that didn't do that. Many schools, even right now, that do not ever talk about achievements made by black citizens of the United States. But we didn't know how fortunate we had it. Of course not. We only have ourselves to compare to. But do I miss those days? No, I don't miss those days. But I can reminisce about them and about all the people I've met. Mrs. Osborne. I can talk about the teachers. I can't talk about students, but I can name teachers. Mrs. Osborne.
Fault, garage, door.
Was they a Mrs. Ard? I'm not sure. But remember Mrs. Jackson. I remember having her, at least our 6th grade teacher. And everybody thought she was white because she was very light-skinned. And we got on her because it's like, you're white trying to be black. No. The truth is that she was actually black, but she was, of course, of mixed heritage. And we didn't think about that. Our heads were like, oh, you don't look this way. Just let you know. Everything is not as it seemed. But these were teachers that were, for the most part, very, they were dedicated to the kids. They wanted us to receive a fair and good education. I wonder if any one of you that went to 66th Street School, if you remember our music teacher. His name was Mr. Mosley. And he had this harp with him. And I joke around with my wife a lot. Because I would tell him this is how we would start off things before we start singing a song. And I'll give you an example. It's a song that goes like, he would come in and say, we're getting ready to say, make my living in Candyland. But we got to make sure we have the right pitch to it. So he took this little thing in his hand and he strummed the harp. He said, bring, Lou, ready, sing. Now I think we just bust up laughing now. But if you went to 66th Street School, I know you've heard of Mr. Mosley. Because he went to every class. That was our music for the day. Or exposure to somewhat classical music, I guess. But in terms of giving us an all-around education, that's what happened. And remember it said, make my living in Candyland, make my living in Candyland, make my living in Candyland, lady, fare you well. Of course, we're kids. We didn't realize how silly that sounded. We didn't realize how silly it sounded. We were just kids and we felt, oh, well, at least we won't be having to study English or math or whatever. You know, we get a little break. So we tolerated it. But it's just that as we look back, it was like, oh my goodness, that's what we were exposed to. we were also exposed to the office. That if you did something wrong, there was no talking and sending you to a corner and having you, what do you call it, you're expelled from school. No. What they had was an instrument. And that instrument had holes in it. And it looked like a ping pong paddle. But the holes were essentially there expressly to apply to your behind. If you weren't doing what you were supposed to do and you call yourself being big and bad, the principal would take it, swat you with it. Yep, we grew up with swattings. You get sent by the teacher to the principal's office, you were susceptible to a swat. And the parents, didn't hear about that many parents. Huh? You hit my child. You hit my child. I'm suing you. No, they didn't do that. Because the parents were like, if my child did something bad, get him. Get him. We can't afford to have our kids go to jail because they don't respect anyone. No, and they better respect the principal. So I remember the paddle. I think I was hit once with it. Didn't feel good either. Anyway, when these memories begin to flood forth, I'm sure that at your elementary school, wherever your elementary school was, you were able to do or think or say certain things, and you bring back memories. You know, the one memory that I have is when they had expanded the yard, and remember, it was no grass, everything was asphalt. But there was touch football, so you hit them on your hips, and you got them. And so there was a play. Someone, I guess I was probably the last choice or two, because I was not a good sports guy. I had absolutely, not only to have any rhythm, I didn't have any ability. I mean, I like sports, but I couldn't do anything until later on in life. Then I began to feel pretty good about my about my activity. But I remember being on this team, and I caught the ball, and I took off. And I'm running, and I'm thinking people saying, "Yay, yay, yay, all right, Adrian." No, they were saying, "Turn around, stupid, you're going the wrong way, you're going the wrong way." Oh man, one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. I'd never played football at that school ever again. Never. Because even if someone even thought, and no one's going to think about picking me on that football team. And I wasn't going to take it anyway because I didn't want that to happen to me ever again. That was traumatic. That was very traumatic. But again, these are just memories, and I can laugh about them now because that's a part of what my life was. At good old 66th Street School. So for those of you that helped with, and or even right now, they're planning their next picnic. And for those of you that are helping with, you're on the committee, I want to tell you thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to think about these memories, whether they were good or bad, because all that's a part of me and part of my life experience. And you guys are all sharing in that as I'm sharing in some of yours. And it's a good thing that I can remember. And I can remember people that treated me nice. Even those who were part of gangs, but they looked at me and said, "We're going to keep you. We're not going to mess with you." And I was very, very grateful for that. But guys, those of you people, guys. When I say guy, I don't mean just men. I mean men, women too. If you want to do this every year, I'll donate every year. Because even if I can't come, I want the idea of a picnic to keep us together. I know we went our separate ways in so many activities, but that we should come together at some time and just keep tabs on each other. So many of us now are leaving this life, and they haven't gotten that chance to meet with us. Let's do that. And let's let you know, the katydids I ordered, I put them out in the kitchen so that people can eat. 2 cans are gone, but I plan on able to get something out of the 3rd can today. But anyway, love you all. Keep doing what you're doing. And I am very proud to be an alumni of 66th Street Elementary School. God bless you. God keep you. Take care.